Hi everybody, it's Richard here. I thought I would talk about the 1980s with regards to music. When a lot of people ask me, well, not a lot of people, when people ask me what's my favourite decade of music, I would tend to say the 1970s. Probably closely followed by the 1960s. But then I would say I like the 1980s, but only the first half. Because for some reason, from 1985 onwards, I think music in general and the production of music it became very overproduced. It had that 80s sound, which I know there's a few videos going about the VC with regards to the albums that suffered from that 80s sound. But in general, I thought, you know, it just wasn't as exciting. Maybe I was starting to grow up. By 1986 I was 20, and maybe the chart scene and the local or the artists of that time just no longer appealed. Then I thought to myself, could I name myself 5 classic or excellent albums released between 1985 and 1989? I thought, yeah, that's easy enough. Like, you know, I love the Traveling Wilburys first album. I love Lou Reed's New York album. I love Tom Petty's Full Moon Fever along with Roy Orbison's Mystery Girl. The first Tin Machine album from Bowie I thought was fantastic. And I thought, whoa, hold on a minute here. I'm just listing 70s artists that released good albums in the 80s. So then I set myself a challenge to give me 5 excellent albums from 1985 to 1989 where the artist's first recording had to be from the 1980s, nothing from the 1970s. That was a little bit more difficult, but I got there. In fact, I had 5 until I did a little bit of research, and then I thought, oh gosh, because I never do research for these videos, it's just off the bat, but I thought something might be wrong. And one of the bands in fact had a couple of members who were in a previous band that released one single in 1979. That's a pity, because I would love to include it, but I'm going to give it a shout out anyway, and that would be this, the Fine Young Cannibals, the Raw and the Cooked. Now 2 of these members, Andy Cox is one and I think David Steele is the other, were obviously in the Beat, or as our friends over the pond would say, the English Beat. This album makes me look silly because this album actually has everything I hate about 80s music in it, but I love it. Especially the song She Drives Me Crazy, which is overproduced, tinny sounding. I just adore that song, and in fact I adore this album. But I'm not going to include it because of those 2 guys. But yeah, from 1989, this is a fantastic album, and whenever you play it in the songs and you're singing along, you have to sing along in Rowan Gift's voice, so you do. You can't sing it any other way. I'm not going to do a Rowan Gift impression here, but I saw him perform on, was it Jules Holland's Hogmanay about 5 years ago, and I just thought it was brilliant. Fantastic singer, has got his own voice. But anyway, this album, they only did 2 albums. This and the first album, which is, I think, is a self-titled album, are both excellent albums. But anyway, the Give Me 5, I'll start from now. Right, first up, I've shown this in one of my very first videos, but it deserves to be shown again. Tanita Tikaram. This is Ancient Heart. This is a wonderful album, and I would put this up as classic status. 4 singles were released from this. One was a big hit, well, one was a top 10 hit, Good Tradition. But I think the more famous song off this, which got top 30, is Twisted My Sobriety. The other 2 singles, I think, were, what we call them again? Yeah, World Outside Your Window and Cathedral Song. Her voice is very dark, it's very deep and dark, and it's very laid back. She comes from around that time of, you know, when Tracy Chapman was you know, making it big with her, is it her Crossroads album, Fast Car and so forth. Always preferred To Need to Take Her Home, and I've followed her ever since. Wonderful album, and this deserves, this is from 1988. This is one of my top 5 picks for classic albums of 1985 to 1989. This one here was included after I let go of the Fine Young Cannibals. R.E.M. Green. This is my favourite R.E.M. album. I do veer towards the earlier ones. I just find them a little bit more exciting and a little bit less AOR. You know, I can understand people saying that Out of Time and Automatic for the People are the best, but I think they're a little bit bland. This is in between. This has got great songs out, like Orange Crush is a brilliant single, that's a Stand. World Leader Pretends great, and a pop song, and there's no songs in the back of this, so I'm just trying to remember what's on it. My favourite song on this one, funny enough, is the untitled one at the very end of side 2. I think it's track 11. It's just called, it's not listed anywhere, and it's just in brackets untitled whenever you see listings of it on Wikipedia or whatever. But yeah, this is fantastic. I still haven't got a clue what Michael Stipe's singing about, but the overall feel of this album is great. Okay, these next 3 I think are, oh boy, these are very high up on my list of all-time great albums. This one is debut album from 1989, and I was going to include this guy's first band and maybe their second album, but I'm only allowing myself 1 album per artist, and that's The Beautiful South. Welcome to the Beautiful South. This is Paul Heaton and from the Housemartins. He brought along with him Dave Hemingway from the Housemartins, changed him from a drummer into a singer, and Dave Hemingway's vocals are rather sweet, but they work if they're not on too many songs. The big hit single off here is Song for Whoever. Well, there's actually 2. You Keep It All In. It was a pretty big hit as well, top 10er. Excuse me. Song for Whoever is ingenious lyrics. You know, if I can remember off hand, Jennifer, Allison, Philippa Sue, Deborah, Annabelle too. I forget your name, but it's all about writing a love song and getting loads of money for it, getting loads of royalties. Very witty album, and my favourite on this would be Woman in the Wall. There are hints of the Housemartins on this, but not too much. If you ever had never heard, especially the American people, we probably have never heard of this band, and if you know the Housemartins, the song Build from the Housemartins from their second album would be a real indication on where this band came from, because a lot of people think Build is a Beautiful South song, but it's not. It's the Housemartins. Love this. Great album. Their best as well. Now, I'm going to leave the surprise one till the last and give what a lot of people think is the best album of the 80s. Throughout the whole decade, I would nearly tend to agree. I played this to death. I actually almost played this too much that I got a little bit fed up with it. I remember buying it and my tape player of my hi-fi system wasn't working, and I was going to a friend's house in Donegal in the Republic of Ireland, and I needed this on tape, so I actually did the old-fashioned way of, don't anyone come into this room, I'm having a microphone against a speaker and I'm pressing tape on an old flat tape player, and it worked alright. You know, it played well enough in my little mini Clubman, and it got me through, but I played this to death. This is The Smiths, The Queen is Dead. This is their best album. I know in recent years a lot of people are going and saying things like Strange Ways Here We Come is technically their best. Morrissey prefers Strange Ways Here We Come. funny enough, I think Strange Ways Here We Come suffers from the 80s production. This is perfect. This is a brilliant, witty album. Side 1 for me is the absolute perfect side, with The Queen Is Dead, possibly the best song ever. Frankly, Mr. Shankly is a nice little whimsical number. I Know It's Over is a great song with the immortal line, Mother, I feel the soil falling over my head. Who would think of things like this? No, Never Had No One Ever is a very dreamy little number before you get the catchy Cemetery Gates, which is not spelt right. It should be Cemetery Gates instead of Cemetery Gates. Side 2 is the 2 singles, Big Mouth and The Boy with a Thorn as a side. Probably my second favourite Smith single after This Charming Man. Figuring out 2-2's fun. There Is a Light That Never Goes Out is probably the most famous song off this album. It wasn't a single at the time, but it was released as a single after the Smiths had split up about 5 years afterwards. I think it charted not very high. And then the weakest song on the track is Some Girls Are Bigger Than Others. Nice music, but the words I just think are slightly weak. But this is the original copy I got in 1986, and it's kept it in decent enough nick. Love this album. So the 5th is a 1988 album, and it's by a band that are still going today, 2 brothers. I've seen them live twice. They put on a fantastic show. There are no thrills about their show. They go on in their jeans and their t-shirt and they belt the show out. And this is probably their best album. I'll just tell you. The Proclaimers, Sunshine on Leith. This is an unbelievably amazing album. These guys, they have got very strong Scottish accents, but even with that, it's all part of. It's the same with singing the Roland Gift song. You have to sing these songs with a Scottish accent as well. Very talented songwriters. I think all the songs are credited to Craig and Charlie Reid. Craig would be the lead singer, the main singer, and Charlie would be the guitarist. But I think Craig is the chief songwriter of the two. This has obviously the one that everybody knows is I'm Gonna Be 500 Miles, which did extremely well a few years later in America, and got to #1 for was it Children in Need here? With what do you call your guy? Peter Kay. It also has I'm On My Way, which was featured on one of the Shrek films. And then the actual crowd favourite of this, you would think it would be I'm Gonna Be 500 Miles. It's not. Sunshine on Leith is a ballad, but whenever they play this one live, everyone is singing. It's just a very, very strong album. Excuse me. There is a Steve Earle song on it, which I can't remember which one's his. I think it might be My Old Friend the Blues. There is it's slightly political as well, this album, because Cap in Hand is like a Scottish nationalist party song, or for independence. Still, it's it's a great song, and there is a hilarious song called It's Saturday Night, in which he talks about absolutely getting sloshed and scratching cars and basically being sick. It is funny. It's a good song. This is an overall sing-along album, and if you've never heard the Proclaimers, I would sort of say get a greatest hits first. No, in fact, I wouldn't say get this first. I bought the single when it came out, but it was about 3 or 4 years later I bought the tape, the cassette, just to have in the car, because we didn't have CD players in those times, and I bought it for about 50p or something like that there. I fell in love with this album, and so there is my 5th choice, and that is 5 albums that from 1985 to 1989 that I would put in the classic status, to be quite honest with you. I still think overall the early 80s is far better, and these classic albums are few and far between, but I kind of proved myself wrong a little bit because I didn't think there was any, and there was. So anyway, that's me for today, and I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you soon. Bye.